you going, mate?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good, good. All right, guys. Welcome to TRODAIRE. I'm here with Charles Cox, Charlie Cox.
For me.
How you feeling today, mate? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Pretty
So,
keen for this.
Oh,
yeah.
mate, it's been.
I reckon it'll be a good episode.
It'll be a lot of fun. How's your week been? Good.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty chill. You know, just.
What have you been doing? What's been happening?
You know, going to the gym, hanging out with mates, just getting ready for uni to go back. I reckon.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's the way, bro. And I hear you were telling me before off camera that you have a bit of a trip planned.
Yeah, going down to Victorian High Country for a few weeks.
What are you doing down there?
Bit of full driving, bit of camping, you know,
Nice.
see
You
a
got
bit
swag?
of family. Yeah, swag every day of the week.
Nice, bro. You're not a tent guy. I'm not.
King swags, mate.
King swags. I got a big
swag,
king swags
yeah.
as well. Yeah, no, they're good ones. And you're going down with your dad?
Yeah, down with the dad.
Nice. Bro, Victoria High Country is pretty good. It's pretty neat.
Should be nice.
Bro, it's been a while. I haven't seen you since probably before school. Or like a couple times in between there, we ran into each other.
Occasionally, yeah, Felons the other day.
Dude, Felons is good. Felons is such
Felons
a spot.
is always a good spot.
I love Felons. It's
Little brew.
oh, for a good, not for a good brew, but for a brew at that.
Bit expensive, you know.
I paid $25 for an espresso martini the other night, and I was not happy.
Yeah, I'm not a cocktail person, so.
You're not? No. I'm not a cocktail person. Yeah, I just like espresso martini.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Oh, I mean it.
No, you know.
What are you? You just like beer?
Just beer, occasional
Some
spirits, you know.
What spirits you go for?
Bit of tequila.
Bit of
you know.
tequila. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Rough night.
I haven't had tequila actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess for today, the reason for today's episode is you've had a couple interesting things happen in your life in the last couple.
to say the least, probably.
Been a pretty full-on year, I'd say. 2025 was for you.
Yeah.
I mean, explain a bit about yourself to the camera and to the audience, obviously. Run me through it. What happened?
What happened? Alright, so we'll go back to I think it was the 1st of June, probably. I was at, I started work like it was any ordinary day. Like I came to work, I was thinking, I feel good. Started work, started the day, And then as the day progressed, I started feeling a bit sick.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, maybe I'm just coming down with a cold. And then just progressively got worse and worse the other day. And then by the end of the day, I could barely walk.
Really?
So I was, and I still drove home from work, which probably wasn't my smartest idea. In hindsight, I shouldn't have got in my car. I drove home and I could just barely stand up, couldn't see properly, and I was thinking, shit, what's going on? So I go down to the emergency room and I'm there for a few hours, just, running some tests. Everything seems to be all good. So they give me some drugs and they send me home because I had a really high fever. So like, your fever's come down, we'll send you home. The next day, I'm still feeling a bit rough, but I'm feeling better. I'm like, maybe it was just, a weird sickness.
Yeah.
And then the next day after that, I start feeling weird again. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I go back to the doctors, and the doctors they can't really tell what's wrong straight away. But I wasn't too sick. And then I went back down that rabbit hole where, I could barely get out of bed, I could barely stand up. I couldn't eat a single thing, couldn't swallow any food. And I was like, maybe there is something pretty wrong. So I go back down to the emergency room. And they thought it might be a gastro issue or something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Do a CT of my abdomen, whatever they do. Send me back home to you look all clear, it's probably just some virus or something.
Yeah.
And then the next day was even worse. So I go to the GP, because he was going to do blood tests, as you do. And then he's just like, mate, you've got to go back.
Mm.
So I go back, go to hospital. Then I have an endoscopy done down the throat.
And what is that? That's down the throat?
It's camera down the throat. But before I had an endoscopy, I had a CT done of my brain.
Yeah.
Because they're like, maybe it'll be just a little brain issue. So I wake up from the endoscopy because they put you to sleep for it. And I'm feeling pretty, drowsy and stuff. And then I'm laying there in the bed and the gastroenterologist comes up to me and says, we found something on your brain MRI. He's like, I'm just going to talk to your mum in another room first, before I talk to you.
Okay.
So my first thoughts are, why isn't he going to tell me what's going on? It's not like he talks to my mum in front of me. It's like
he took her out of the
all
room.
the way out into another room so I can't hear what they're saying. And he walks back and he's like, he found a lump on your brain. And so I'm sitting here thinking, oh, you know, what is it? Like, you know. And then I spent about 3 weeks in hospital just while they try to work out what it was. You know, through blood tests. They did a spinal tap, which is a pretty weird thing. Like, I don't know if you've had one before.
Spinal tap. So is that the one where they put in? Is it a needle?
Yeah. So they put a needle into your spine, and it feels real weird.
You're awake for it.
You're awake for it. Like, you know, it's pretty weird. Like, you're butt naked on the CT machine, bunch of doctors behind you, and you're like, oh, you know, how much awkward could this be? I'm flashing like 10 people.
Yeah.
And they like put a bit of local anaesthetic on your back so you can't feel it as much. Like, you still feel the needle prodding around in your back, like inside your spine. You're like, oh,
ooh,
it's pretty rough feeling.
Pretty rough feeling.
And so I had that. That wasn't too fun. And so after all these tests, it got to the point they were like, we don't know what it is. Like, they had theories. They were like, oh, it could be an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
Could be like a tumour of some sort. But they didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
So then the doctors made the decision where they do a biopsy of the tumour. Unfortunately, it happened to be in my brainstem. So the brainstem, like, if you don't know, it's down the back of your brain.
Yep.
So it's pretty hard to access.
Yeah. And dangerous to access.
Yeah, very dangerous to access. So when I had the biopsy done, they had to be very careful because there's only the tiniest bit that they could get to for it. So I went home for a week after being in hospital for about 3 or 4 weeks. I went home for a week, just, you know, have a nice week at home before having a pretty big brain surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the day of the operation came, like, I had to be at hospital by 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, it's pre-game nerves, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're thinking, I have to play a bit of footy, and you're like, this is pretty nerve-wracking.
Getting hyped up for it?
Like, you're almost like, you know, here we go, like, you know, this shit's...
So when let's walk back a bit. So when you go from, you know, you're having a day at work, you're feeling a bit rough, feeling a bit, you know, how you going? You go to hospital, you go through all these, and at this time you're thinking, it's nothing much, I'm just sick.
Exactly.
You're thinking it's no different to when you get a big cold or the flu.
Yeah.
And so from that point, when did you start realizing that, oh shit, this could be a bit more than what it actually I thought it might have been?
Like, because obviously the next day after I went to work, I was like, oh, I feel a bit better.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just a thing. But then when I was feeling worse the next day, and then it like got worse again the day after, and like.
And was this like, were you getting what is it? Nauseous? Was it that type of feeling? What was it?
It was so, like, I tried to eat food and I just, like, I couldn't swallow properly. It's like,
wow.
It's the weirdest sensation. Like, you go, like, you think when you got a bit of food in your mouth, you're like, oh, I'll go swallow this food.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But, like, I'd tell my mind, like, I need to swallow this food, and I couldn't do the swallowing
action. You couldn't
action.
process it.
Like, I couldn't swallow down any food.
Wow.
And, like, I swallowed a tiny bit, and then just couldn't keep it down, just spewed it all back up. Felt so, like, I've never felt that sick in my life.
Yeah.
It was.
And so then you walk,
weird.
you go through this whole process where it's, they're like, okay, this is something more, let's do a couple tests, and then from those tests they're like, let's do a scan.
Yeah.
And let's do a, endoscopy. And then from that moment, did your heart sort of sink when you were sort of, when it was like, you've got something on your brain, or were you like, this still could be, not a big thing?
Well, like, I remember the day after I had the endoscopy and the CT on my brain, it was pretty early in the morning. I was in my hospital bed, and a neurosurgeon came in to see me. Really, like, I love my doctor. Best doctors I've ever had.
Yeah.
She comes in to see me, and she starts talking to me about it, and then she, takes me to a computer, shows me, like, there's things in my brain, and then she starts talking about what it could be.
Yeah.
And, like, she's like, oh, don't go Googling these things, because,
you
don't want to... Yeah, she's like, don't Google this stuff. She's like, you don't want to...
Yeah, hype yourself up over
scare
anything.
yourself into stuff. And then she's, like, saying all these terms, and I'm like, I'm not going to Google them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm locked in, I'm not going to Google them. Lasted a few days, and then I was like, I'm going to Google it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think that's when...
It kicked in?
Just started,
Wow.
It got pretty scary.
And so then you come to the day of your surgery.
Yeah.
What was that last, or that 24 hours before the day of the surgery? Were you like talking to your family? Were you seeing friends? What was that like?
You know, I was with family the whole time. I was with my friends. Like, I ate all the good food that I wanted to eat.
Right.
Because, you know, I was told, you're probably not going to want to eat for a few weeks after this.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'll eat some good food. I'll have a good time, you know. Just enjoy the moments. Because obviously, like, there's that little bit of uncertainty around it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
a lot of things carry risk, but especially with your brain.
Yeah.
There's, like, even bigger risks. And, like, they run you through what the risks of doing an operation are.
Yeah.
But I feel like those risks don't always sink in sometimes. And you think, like, I'm pretty lucky that I, like, as far as I can tell and know, I haven't got any major side effects from it.
Yeah.
But like they talk about these things that happen to people, like some people can't talk properly after it, they can't swallow, they can't walk.
Yeah.
And you just think, how can this like tiny part of my brain can change so much?
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then from that moment on, from that 24 hours, you come to the day of the surgery, and you were saying before, you're trying to get mentally into that,
you know, like
around it.
You got this, like you know.
And so
trying not to feel scared. It's like, you know, rock up at the hospital. I think it was a little bit before 6 a.m.
Yep.
So it was an early start. You know, you get there, you wait in the waiting room. They call you in, you get weighed, all that stuff. And then they do like a CT with everything to just, you know, line it up because they do the operation under a CT guidance somehow.
Yeah.
It's like, it was kind of weird because they shaved like little parts of my hair to like draw dots on it.
Okay.
Which was good because sometimes they tattoo like dots onto your head,
yeah.
but they just like shave some of my hair. So I had random patches of hair missing at this point. And then I go back into the room, like I'm there with my mum, just waiting, you know, to be called in, I guess.
And what was that like for me? It's nowhere similar to what you could be feeling, but when I had surgery on my knee.
Yeah.
Still, there was a lot of anxiousness just to go under. For you, I could only imagine what that moment would have been like. It's like, if I go under, you know, I might not wake up with a moving finger. You know what I mean?
I might not wake up as the same person.
So I would. Did you like have any conversations with people? Did you say like things to people where you're like, you know, should this go a certain way? You know, I just want to say like thank you for a lot of things. Not really, or
a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I tried not to too much because I didn't want to
positivity.
get it in my mind. Like I feel like in like every situation, your mindset's the biggest. It like changes you the most. If you have a good mindset, then you can get through anything.
Yeah, 100%. And so you come. So then you have surgery.
Yep.
How long did that go for?
I think it was about 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours. I was under. Yeah.
And so they take it out, the whole thing, or are they just doing a biopsy?
They just got the tiniest bit of it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they do a biopsy. They test it.
Yeah, they tested. They put a bit of, so like the back of my skull is now titanium. So like, you know, where what holds the back of your skull together for most people, I got a plate there.
Yeah.
That replaces that now, and a big scar down the back of my head.
Yeah. Is the scar pretty sick?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, go on.
You know, and like, yeah, and that was the operation. Obviously, I woke up, and I think that was pretty intense waking up. Like, because I was in some pretty heavy pain. Like, I remember I woke up, and I got pretty lucky because I went straight to the like ICU and the intensive care, and the nurse who was there, was a family friend of mine. So that was kind of good that I knew them. It's like I wake up, like, you know, I'm awake for a bit, then I fall back asleep. Yeah. And I'm just in and out of it. Like, you know.
Coming in and out.
Coming in and out.
Yeah.
So nothing that's happened is like fully sunk in or affected me.
Yeah. 100%. And then from that moment there, you sort of probably 12 hours after, or whenever you sort of get over that drowsiness period, how long from then, like what's the process after that? What happens? Do they give you a week? They go off and test it, they give you a week, say, you know, recover from the surgery.
Yeah, so I ended up spending another 3 and a bit weeks in hospital.
Yep.
Just because, well, they wanted to keep me in while they tested, and the recovery for it ended up being a lot worse than what they thought.
What was that like?
It was pretty bad, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, because they cut all the muscles down my neck, so I had no muscle left on the back of my neck. So I just, I couldn't move my neck properly.
Yeah.
Couldn't turn my head. Like, if I tried to look at someone, I had to turn my whole body to look at people. I couldn't walk, which was a really weird thing. Like, I got out of bed. Like, I had to be helped out of bed by some physios. And then they were like, oh, we'll just see if you can walk a few steps. And I could barely walk some steps. And I was thinking,
this is fine.
This was pretty foreign. Like, I've never just gotten up and not been able to use my body properly.
Yeah. And so, then, in that moment, what were you feeling? Like, so, like, what was, like, that 3 weeks there where you can't move your body, like, head, you don't have the functions of what you normally had before you went under? What was that like to, be so young, straight out of school, and now this is happening, and now you have to sort of build back up that strength?
Yeah, it was pretty up and down.
Yeah.
Like, I was happy that I was alright, but like, I couldn't do so many things when I was like, barely sit up in hospital. I couldn't walk to the bathroom, part of it by myself. I had to be helped to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, all my friends would come and, like, my friends were so good. Everyone who came to support me, like, they were so good. It's like, everything drained you so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was a mix of all the painkillers I was on, but it just drained you. And then, I remember after a couple of weeks, I was still in hospital, and I could walk a bit better at this time. Like, every day I'd, like, walk a little bit further around the ward. Like, I'd try to keep going. Go around in a wheelchair sometimes, because I wasn't up to walking for a day. And then, I was walking, I dropped something, and I went to pick up what I dropped down, thinking, I wasn't feeling too bad, so I tried to pick it up, and just, like, I've never experienced pain like that in my head before.
Really?
Like, it was hard to explain the pain, but it was like a hard throbbing pain almost. It was like my whole head just throbbed so bad, and like, the pain almost, I couldn't move because of the pain. And it lasted hours. Like, they gave me, drugs and stuff to try to wear off the pain. Just nothing helped, and I just laid there. It's pretty low point in my life. And I remember it was probably about 10 p.m. at night, and I was having another blood test, and they came in to, like, take my bloods or whatever. And I was in that bed, like, I'm in so much pain. None of the painkillers are working. Like, they got the lights on, like, my head hurts so much, I can barely move. They can't find a vein, they're just, like, going so many times. I feel like that was probably the low point. But then you get those high points where you think, I've made progress from where I was a week ago. Like, a week ago I couldn't, walk 10 metres, now I can walk 50 metres, you know what I mean? Like,
did you find that, and that's unimaginable to experience. Like, I don't think you would even picture yourself in that situation until you were in it.
Yeah, and I still, like, today I can't always picture, like, how, like, everything that went on.
Has gone on.
Sometimes it gets hard to think about all that stuff because you're like, I got through it. Why should I dwell so much on what happened?
Well, I think it's powerful too, because it sort of gives you, it shows you just how powerful you are within yourself, like how much determination, like, if you can persevere through that moment to put it into perspective of, like, for the viewers at home and listening, is like, to be 18 years old and you leave school and you have, for me it was like, I've got the whole world open. Every opportunity available is there. If I work hard, I'll get to here and I'll get to there. And to have that almost taken away from you overnight or over a couple of days, and then to have to push through, when you know there's other 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds or people you see around you on social media living their lives.
Exactly.
How difficult just that mental side of it is.
Yeah.
And then having to, you know, not only deal with that mental challenge, but to persevere through the physical challenge of you're talking about the pen. Not only was it you just picking up that pen, but the 10 hours or the 4 hours after that moment where your head's still throbbing.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting checked for that bang. You know, and it's like, what does this come to? You know, it's like, how am I going to get through that moment? Did you use that as fuel for, you know, in your recovery? People like you know, maybe you're 2 weeks after that moment, you're sort of like, you are able to do a little bit more, and you said it just before that.
Yeah.
You know, there were high points where you could walk a little further each day, or did you look back and go, wow, I have come so far?
Yeah, like sometimes I feel, you know, like from where I came from, being in that like hospital bed and not being able to do anything pretty much, you know, couldn't go to the toilet, being stuck there, couldn't walk unassisted, couldn't even wash myself.
Yeah.
Like, it was a sense of achievement when I hit certain points. I thought, you know, if I can do this, what can I do next?
Yeah.
And then I kind of just thought, you know, this will pass in time. But I didn't know how long everything was going to last. Because I remember one of the physios said to me, you know, for a lot of people who undergo what I had, it's 6 to 12 months before you get back to
Normal.
like being able to do normal things. And they're like, usually it's about a year before you can drive again. So I was thinking, oh, like, you know, that's so much of my life that I can't do anything. For. And then I was just like, you know, you got to get through it at the end of the day. Like, you can sit there feeling sorry for yourself, but how's that going to change what the outcome of everything's going to be?
Wow. 100%. And then, like, was that a big sort of factor for you where it was like, I'm just going to take this day by day? Like,
you can't think about it any further
than what you had. And so after this recovery, what was the next sort of phase like? What did that look like for you?
Well, so my last day in hospital
Yep.
was when I got the results for everything.
Yep.
That's when I found out that it was cancer.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a weird day, in almost a fact, because in the back of my mind, I feel like I knew what was coming. Like, they talked about it, they weren't sure. But you always think about it, and I feel like when they told me, I was kind of like, I kind of expected it in a way. Like, I thought, oh, you know, this really sucks. But in the back of my mind, I feel I knew what the result was going to be.
Yeah.
And so, you know, really good team. Like, they all gave me so much support when I was in hospital. The nurses were really nice, you know. I was the youngest person in the ward by like 50 years, apparently. So everyone was really old. In the ward.
Did you talk to any of those guys in the ward? Like any of the people around you? You sort of kept
maybe a couple people occasionally. Well, I was in bed for a bit, so I couldn't socialise. But like all the nurses, they were so good.
Lovely.
Like, all lovely people, really nice. And like they were there because I had a few complications after. Like for a few days, I had some heart problems from the operation.
Really?
So I had to go down to a coronary care unit. So that's where they like look after your heart a bit more. So you're sitting in a bed, you're like hooked up to all these monitors for your heart. And they're just checking everything. And like I remember one of the nurses gave me a big hug before I went down. She was like, "You'll be alright." And I was like, "Thanks," you know. And like it was just those little things really helped. Having people who are so like, you know, comforting and supporting for you.
100%. And have you gone back and visited like any of them at all? Like, you know, dropped in at all?
I have, probably not willingly, but so back in December. So when I got sick originally, that was like a flare up of my cancer for whatever reason. I had another flare up in December, so I spent a few more days in hospital just riding that out in hospital. So I saw a lot of them again then. And they remembered me, which was nice. You know, seeing some friendly faces is always good. So I've seen them since, and I'm at the hospital a fair bit these days, so I still see them around when I'm getting around.
And when you found out it was cancer, you might not know this. I'm not sure. how rare was it for you to get something like this? Do they tell you that? Do they say like is this uncommon? Like, could this have happened to anyone? Like,
Yeah, well, the cancer I had, I think, is more found in children sometimes.
Okay.
Which is a bad thing, I suppose, because the childhood cancers tend to be worse than adult cancers for whatever reason. Like, they didn't say how many people got it. I think they usually say like one person every, I think it's 6 to 12 hours finds out they have a form of brain cancer.
wow.
So like 700 people a year or something in Australia. But like, I think the toughest thing was they give you all this information about the support networks, and a lot of them talk about like the statistics of people who have these kind of cancers. And brain cancer is a bit different to pretty much every other cancer, in a way that you can never, like, there's no current cure to it. Like, you can, like, we'll talk a bit later about, like, I've done chemo and radiation. Like, you can do treatments, but the whole point is to slow it down. There's no way to stop it, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like, you can remove it, but I can't have mine removed just because of where it is. So, I guess, like, when doctors tell you, you know, you're going to be stuck with this for the rest of your life, like, it's going to shorten your lifespan, but they don't know exactly by how much. Like, you see, I think that's the tough thing, is you see people who, some people live like 30 or 40 years, and then other people might live a couple of years, and you think, you know, where's it going to fall? Because I guess for mine, like, my tumour is pretty small. It only has to grow the tiniest bit, and it'll cause some pretty serious problems. Yeah.
And from knowing that, from understanding that, and from sort of, you know, being told like this is not curable, or this is like, you know, this is, we can only do so much. How has that changed your sort of outlook? Like, for me, if that was me, I could only imagine what sort of perspective I'd have.
Yeah.
So what did that do for you? Was that freeing in a way, or did it feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but what does it change for you?
Yeah, I feel like at first it was a pretty, you know, like, it was hard to comprehend at first, you know, like, because you always think you've got like so much time left in life, and then starting to realise that there's like a finite amount of years left makes you think, am I really, like, is this where I want to be in life? Am I doing what I want to do in life?
Yeah.
I think you got to like look back, and it really changes. Well, it changed for me like how I saw everything, and I saw the world, and I kind of thought, if I wanted to do something, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not going to waste my time trying to be someone for someone else, or trying to fit into a mold that's not me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I want to be me.
Yeah.
And I want to do what I want to do. And I'm not going to let other people influence it as much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, some people live their whole lives thinking, you know, say my parents were a doctor, I'm going to be a doctor, you know, but like, you got to think, what do you really want to do in life?
Yeah.
Because, as you know, as it happened to me, your whole life can just change like that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, you go from, you know, I went from going to work every day, you know, yeah, I work at Bunnings there every day, going to uni pretty much most days as well.
Yeah.
You know, I go to the party, you know, partied a bit, I'll be honest, like, you know, over the November to March period, I partied a bit. But then, you know, you kind of think, do I want to spend like my whole life just doing that kind of stuff, or is there more to life? Because I feel like I took a lot for granted.
Right.
Because I always thought, yeah, you see people who get stuff and you think, that's never going to be me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everyone has that mentality, like, you know, like,
until it happens.
why do I need to worry about it? Like, it's not me who's got it. And then, you know, you think, oh, it is me who's got it. Like, is that who I want to be?
What, like, I feel like you are, and you're sort of saying it now, is like, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Exactly.
What image of, not even my, of what other people see, but what image of myself do I want to leave on this earth? What's the impression? And for you, like, I know last year you were doing construction management at QUT, and now, just speaking to you beforehand, you're doing business and law.
Yeah.
It's to, you know, what is that sort of legacy that you want to leave? Is it, you know, if people look at you today, what do you want them to see you for? Or what do you want to see yourself for is a better question.
Yeah.
Right? What would that be for you?
Like, I don't want to miss any opportunities in life. You know what I mean? Like, if an opportunity is presented, I want to take that opportunity. And, you know, I also feel like it's also who you surround yourself with sometimes. Like, you kind of realise who your true, like, friends and people are when you're in that hospital room. Who's visiting you, who's bringing you the saucy rolls from their butcher, you know. Like, you know, who's coming for you. Like, and then you realise those are the people who care about you. Like, those are the people I want to be friends with.
Yeah.
But then, on the flip side, once you've left hospital, it kind of makes you realise, if this person, like, if I don't think I can live the life I want to live being friends with someone like this, I'm not going to be friends with someone like that. You know, you got such a finite amount of time. Why would you waste your time trying to impress people, trying to live a lie, when there's something else that you want to do in life?
100%. And that's something that we haven't touched on just yet is, how did your friendships change? Did you? I would assume that it, like, man, it would have strengthened them.
Yeah,
The whole experience would.
100%. I feel like,
even
you know,
now.
strengthened so many relationships. Like, just getting that text from people saying, "Hey, can I come see you today?" Like, made your day so much better.
Yeah.
Like, just sitting in a hospital room doing nothing all day, it sucks. But when you got people, like, I have people there constantly. The nurses probably got a bit annoying because we're pretty loud, but, you know. Like, I was in there over State of Origin.
Yeah.
So for State of Origin, like, all the boys came over. They all bought, like, feeds and stuff. Did KFC everywhere, and Macca's, like, you know, we were living life in this hospital. And, like, for those, you know, for those couple of hours they were there, like, I forgot about everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt like I was living a normal life.
Yeah.
And it felt good. And I feel like, you know, I love my mates for that.
Yeah,
like, it was, you know, they're the best mates I could ever ask for.
100%. And that's it just shows, like, who you lean on in that moment, right? It's like the strength that, like, not being alone in that hospital room or stuff like that, like you said, has made your day 10 times better, and I'm sure it made for your mates, like, you know, I know some of those boys, I'm sure it just made their day a little bit better when they could just see you, talk to you, and experience you. It going to the treatment.
Yeah.
So we've come past now. You've got brain cancer.
Yeah.
What was that first couple of what is the treatment that you're going through, and what was that first sort of beginning period of the treatment like? Getting used to it. How did it all go down?
So, what the first treatment was is I did chemo and radiation.
Yeah.
So for the chemo, it works different to a lot of usual chemos just because of the brain. Like, there's something called a blood-brain barrier.
Yeah.
So a lot of chemos they inject into you, but for the brain you have to take it in like a pill form.
Yeah.
So I took the pill form. So I had to do that every day for 6 weeks to start off with.
Yeah.
I get a jar of pills which I take. You know, it sucked, but the only like positive thing was I didn't lose any hair from it.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. But,
That was
you know,
good. Got to keep your head of hair.
Yeah, and then I did the radiation, and I feel like the radiation is what sucked.
Wow.
Like, because I did that every weekday for 6 weeks, and then like you go into this room, they make this mask that just like molds to your face, and then you're on this table and they like screw it down so you can't move your head at all, and this machine like starts at the bottom and like comes around over you and goes back down to the bottom, and then you know you just lay there. Sometimes they play a bit of music for you if you're lucky, but I got a bit unlucky with this because it only happens to, like, they say 10% of people. Did you get this weird like smell sensation from the radiation, which took me a while to work out what it was because like, oh, it was my flesh burning. I was like, I hope not. But it was the worst thing I'd ever smelled.
Really?
In a way, like, I don't know how to describe it. I threw up a couple times after because it was just the worst thing you'd ever smelled.
Yeah.
And I get that every time we go over. And like I was talking to my doctor about it, my oncologist, and he was like, yeah, it's a bit unlucky, like not many people get that, but it does happen. especially of the brain somehow.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that really made me dread going.
Mm.
Like I just, I did not want to go.
Yeah.
Like the chemo sucked because you felt like crap every day.
Mm.
But, like the radiation, just having to like sit there and just have this like.
How long did it go for? Like did one session go for a radiation?
It kind of changed sometimes.
Yeah.
It usually only lasts about 5 minutes, but like you can imagine 5 minutes of like this really bad smell. Yeah, it's pretty hard to bear. Sometimes it's a bit longer because sometimes they had to like do it twice, so they didn't quite get it the first time.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then the radiation like builds over time. So like the first week of radiation's alright. Like you feel a bit fatigued, but then as the weeks go on, like what happens build more and more and more.
Yeah.
And then you start to be like, oh, like you feel drained. Like you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, have I really slept? Have I like, have I had a good night? You wake up feeling like crap. You do like a tiny bit of stuff, and then you're just knocked out for the day, and you just want to spend half the day laying in bed, which I would do. I didn't want to see people a lot. I just kind of wanted to like
sleep
and just lay in bed. Yeah, that was probably the radiation. I lost a bit of hair from radiation just where they zap it. So I had some weird ball patches on the back of my head for a while, which it's a bit weird explaining to a barber sometimes.
Yeah. Did you like you are still on treatment now, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you still do radiation now?
No, so you only do radiation once usually. So I did for the 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they find that if you do it, too many times, it just fries everything inside your body.
Yeah.
So I still do the chemo, so I do it once every 4 weeks. So I just go on a Monday, do a blood test. Blood test's all good usually. They give you the pills and then you take them every day throughout the week.
Yeah.
And it's not too bad for the first few days, but come like Thursday, Friday,
you're pushing through.
Yeah, you're knocked out at 1, 2 p.m. Even after a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And from like life during treatment, life after diagnosis, how has this sort of affected your daily life basically? Because it has upended it in certain facets. Like, do you still go to the gym? I know you were telling me you're at the gym yesterday or 2 days ago. So, what does that look like? A night out. What does a night out for Charlie Cox look like?
Well, so like going to the gym, like I didn't go for quite like from probably June till about October maybe. I didn't really go to the gym much, which I hated. Like I loved going to the gym, and I lost so much progress. I was thinking, how much progress can someone really lose? And it was just like I got back, and everything felt so much heavier. Like right before it all went down, I was lifting the most I'd ever done. I was like the fittest I'd ever been.
I remember, I saw you. Yeah. Saw you in the gym a couple times. I was like, ooh, Coxy's looking good.
Like I'm still, I still haven't rebounded fully. But it's like, I was once that person and I've lost so much progress.
Yeah.
Like, you go to a squat, you go to a bench and it's like half the weight.
Yeah.
You're like, geez. And then the tiredness from all the treatment, like the radiation treatment, it's hard because they never know when like the effects of it stop, because it can last years after you still get like effects from it. So I was like, I'm in the gym, I'm trying to just build back up to where I am, and I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, I just want to be who I was.
Yeah, 100%. So, do you still feel effects sort of from the radiation now? Like
sometimes, like some days, some weeks, I just like. Just like a wave of just tiredness. Yeah. Like getting out of bed feels harder. Just like every day feels a bit harder than it used to, I reckon. Yeah. But some days it's just like
tougher than others.
A lot tougher. But you just got to push through, I feel like.
Yeah. And so, like work. So you're already having a tough day. Then you got to go to work. But do you like your job? Like, what's your job? What you work at Bunnings?
Yeah,
still?
I work at Bunnings. Whip around the forklift occasionally.
Oh yeah.
When they let me. Like, because I went back to work for a couple months, like November, December. Oh, sorry, more like October, November.
Yeah.
And that was good. Like the first week back was pretty tough.
Okay.
I called in sick a bit because some days I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And like my bosses were great. Most people at my Bunnings knew, but not everyone knew. So a lot of people understood, like, you got limitations sometimes, how much you can do. Like, you go to work. Like, I work in the timber yard at Bunnings. It's pretty physical. Like, some of these logs weigh, 60 kilos, some a lot more than that. And you're carrying these bits of timber around, chopping timber with saws.
Yeah.
Like, it's very physically intense. And, like, you do that. And I used to, I do that, and then I go to the gym after work. But it's like, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you try so hard just to live a normal life. And, like, sometimes I go to the gym before work, gym after work, but it's like you go to work and that's it. That's all I'm doing for the day.
Yeah. Just to get that one, because and that change for you, like, do you, you've sort of spoken on it a couple times now, but do you try and block out the comparison of what used to be? So, like you just said there, you used to go to the gym before work, and then go to work, and then come home. But now it's just, if you're at work, it's a day of work, and then you come home. I think for you, is it something that is crucial to be like, that was my reality, this is my reality, and this is what I am in now?
Yeah, it's definitely like that. Like, I want to do what I like, everything I used to do, but then sometimes I got to be a bit realistic with myself.
Yeah.
Like, back in December, I think I wore my body out a lot.
Okay.
So that's another reason why I stopped working for a little bit, because I was like, my body's just, it can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to work, I was trying to go to the gym, I was doing a bit of treatment, I went camping occasionally, I was just trying to do all these things, and just my body wouldn't. Like, it just got to a point where, like, I was in hospital with a flare-up feeling sick, but I was cooked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could, like, you're wearing down your body, trying to keep up with what you have.
Yeah.
Almost. And what's the biggest part of this whole experience and you're still going through it now, and it's, everyone I've spoken to is just high praises of how well you take it on. I can't explain to you. We got Hadro behind the camera over here, and he would be the same. But how admirable, genuinely, it is for what you've gone through. It's I feel like sometimes I do tough things, and I'm sure Ollie and a lot of the people behind us watching this now feel like our life's tough. But to have the experience that you've had, and to go through what you're going through, and to still be positive and still get up and go to work, you know what I mean? It's just something so remarkable, and I think that in itself is something beautiful. It's what's something that you want people to know, about this whole experience, that you've taken from it, or that you are learning to take from it, or you've gained.
Yeah, I feel like I said a bit before, but just don't try to be someone you're not. I was in a degree I didn't like.
Yeah.
I probably partied a little bit too much in hindsight. Everyone was turning 18. 18's every week, pretty much. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty peak. And I feel like I had to change who I was sometimes to be someone else, and then I kind of look back and think, if I can't be myself for someone, then is that the right person for me to be around?
Yeah.
Do what you want to do, because you don't know when your whole life's going to change in a certain way. If you think, I've always wanted to do a dream job, and then you think, is that really a good idea? Why not? That's what you wanted to do your whole life. Why don't you do it?
Yeah, and I think that is something that I think a lot of people, especially at a young age, sort of, they lower their expectations to what they think they're capable of. It's like they go, oh, it's too late for me to be, a footy star, or it's too late for me to go and make a career out of, doing social media, or doing, being a lawyer or something, because I've picked a degree of being a teacher, or being, doing a trade or something like that. I think you're exactly right in saying that. It's you don't know when you will be able to do the next thing. So why not go for it now while you can? What is a goal of your separate to all of this? Separate to the treatment, separate to what you've been through. What is a goal for you now? What What's the next thing that you actually want to do?
It's a big question.
It is.
You know,
It
like,
is.
I feel like I've got a few, like, like I'm changing uni degrees.
Yep.
To, law and business, which I think will be, a bit of a challenge.
Mm.
It's like, I want to push through that.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know I can do it, but I just got to lock in.
Yeah.
I just got to lock in and do it. So
Oh.
I think that's a big goal, is just getting through that, because I know what, like, I'm capable of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And maybe my other goal is not to think about, like, the fact that there might be a finite amount of years left.
Mm.
Is to more think about, say I have another 80 years left.
Mm.
What do I want to do? Like,
Yeah, what do you want
it's
to fill the
just up
time
to me.
with?
Like, what am I going to fill my time with? Plan for everything. Don't live my life in, like, a way feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, you can sit there feeling sorry for yourself all you want, but it's not going to change your situation.
No.
Negativity. I feel like I don't like negative people very much. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I could sit there and I could dwell on it every day, be like, oh, my life sucks, I can't do this, can't do that.
Mm.
I could go out. Like, you got to push the bounds a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes, doctors say don't do this, don't do that. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, like, don't have a few brews on the meds, you got to have a few brews.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that. You can't stop living life just because you have a slight inconvenience.
Yeah, yeah. You still got to make purpose out of it. Is there any? And by the way, I love that you're still on the brews. I love it. A couple of brews. When I saw you on Saturday, I was like, oh, yeah, this is it, bro. This is good. It. Do you have any physical goals, like or like we talked about off camera a bit before, but sport? What does that look like for you? Is that a goal of yours to maybe compete in something, or do maybe not compete, but to take part in, like, something like that?
Yeah, well, I'm doing the Noosa Tri with a couple of mates.
What's that?
The Noosa Triathlon.
Oh, you're doing a triathlon?
Yeah.
Holy
Well,
smokes!
we're doing it as a relay team, so I'm doing the swim.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My mate Seb's doing the cycle, and my mate Ollie's doing the run. So we're breaking it up, and we're doing that for charity to raise money for cancer.
Love it.
So far we've raised 6,500.
Yeah. Oh my
So,
god.
If you want to donate, we'll put a link.
We'll put a link in this for sure.
Yeah.
Put it on the
I'll
stories
link
as
my
well.
Instagram, and I got a highlight of it.
Oh my god.
To donate, support us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How far are you swimming?
So it's 1.5 k's out in the ocean.
Oh.
We want to try to win this, for the relay.
Yeah, of course.
Because, like, I really wanted to do the full try, but I had to set my expectations at a certain level where I was like, I still do treatment, I still do all this. There's weeks I can't do training.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to commit to something and then in the end fall short.
Yeah.
Like, getting up and swimming every day is something that it gives me a goal to get through life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the same with the gym, that's the same with swimming. Like, that gives me something.
Yeah.
When I can't work, like, work gives you a purpose. It's like, I've got the gym, that gives me a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, who do I want to be? Who am I training to be like? And then, I'm swimming. Like, what's my goal? We want to do well in this triathlon. We're going to smash it. We want to raise as much money as we possibly can. So, you just got to set those little goals and have something every day that you can work towards those goals through. Because otherwise, maybe there was a bit of a period in time back in maybe November, like October.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like, I didn't have a purpose.
Yeah.
But then, once I started finding my purpose in life, like, what do I want to do? And then, I thought maybe I'll do a bit of fundraising, like, I want to spread awareness, because no one deserves, like, to ever go through cancer. Every dollar, like, it's closer to coming to a cure. And that's a part of my life that I want to have now. Like, I want to dedicate a little bit of me to helping other people. I want to do that physical goal of going for the swim. Then I've got this goal coming up of going to uni. It gives me all these goals that I've set for myself, so I know what I've got to work towards.
Yeah.
And I'm not just navigating life. Like, I'm still taking the day as it comes, but I'm not going through life thinking, where am I going to be? What am I going to do?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's some sort of a goal.
Yeah, you got to have a. I think you're like, we are similar in that aspect of when we don't have, a beast to slay or a purpose to strive for, you get lost in the mesh. like for me in this last month of January, I've come back from a big trip overseas. I did what I wanted to do, but I came back and I didn't have a goal. I didn't have a reason to push myself to a limit and stuff like that. And when I don't have that in my life, I sort of, the cogs come unwind, and I sort of like go a little bit crazy where I'm like, what am I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What am I doing? Right? And when I don't have something to say, I'm doing this right now, I just go,
You got nothing.
I got nothing, you know?
Yeah, like I think about it, I think about it in like a sense, like to put in like a gym perspective. Like you go to the gym and you're like, what am I going here for?
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, everyone wants to hit the 100k bench.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like a big part. I've been there.
Yeah.
Not there. You're like,
There you go. Yeah.
But then you gotta set goals. Like, I'll push myself this little bit further each week. Like with swimming, I'll swim a little bit further, get the time down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll go to the gym. Like, say, if I'm doing a squat, I want to go up by 20 kilos next week.
Yeah.
I want to do an extra weight increment on lat pull downs. Like, it's just a little goal you set
Yeah.
yourself, and then you know what you're pushing for. Like, say if you go to the gym and you've got no goals and you're just lifting the same weight every single week, where's the improvement?
Yeah. And
You're not going to improve yourself. You gotta have something to improve upon. You gotta push yourself.
separate to everything that you've like been going on with, like life's been pretty full. But what is some goals outside of that? Like, what do you want to achieve personally and physically, and just in your daily life from this point on?
I feel like, I like to set my physical goals, and I also like to set some other goals. Like my physical goals, like, the Noosa Triathlon's coming up. Like I want to train for that as much as I can.
Right.
I want to get as fit as I can for that. Get back to where I was almost.
And what are you doing for the Noosa Triathlon?
Oh, I'm doing
Explain
the
that a
swim.
bit.
Yeah. So me and two of my mates, Seb and Ollie, we're doing a relay team for the Noosa Tri.
Yep.
We're doing it as a fundraiser. So we'll drop a little link to my Instagram below, and I got a highlight of it.
Yeah.
So we've raised $6,500 so far towards cancer research, and we'll be competing. So I'm doing the swim, so it's a 1.5 kilometer open water swim. And I really want that to be my goal. Like originally I did want to do the full try.
Yeah.
But kind of had to be realistic with myself, treatment still going on, can't do as much as what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be able to do my best in something than try to do something and not be able to do it in the end and let people down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It and I think from our conversation, even before the cameras were recording, it's sort of what I get from you is you're very purpose driven and very goal driven, right?
Yeah.
It's like, even like for me, when I don't have a goal to face or a goal to kick each day, I go a bit crazy. I came back from Thailand and I didn't have anything to do, and my mind sort of went a bit nuts, and I didn't have like a reason to keep pushing towards, right? I feel like you're the same. Am I wrong by saying that?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I assume you apply that through your swimming. Like you're doing swimming every day. What does a day in the life, like training wise, stuff like that, look for you?
Like, on a good day, I like to wake up in the morning, have a bit of brekkie, go out to the pool, swim maybe 1 or 2, swim like, probably about 2 or 3 Ks really.
Wow.
On a good day, like I've only just built up to that.
Yeah.
Like,
what were you starting at?
probably about a K.
Okay.
It was pretty rough, but now I swam 2 and a bit the other day. I'm just trying to keep increasing that. Like sometimes I go with my mates, having a bit recently.
Yeah.
But sometimes go with a mate, they might swim, a little bit with me, which is always good having someone else there to push you along. And then I try to go to the gym as well, just depending on how I'm feeling. Like try to do a bit of strength work. That's probably most of my days these days, just because I can't really balance work as much as I used to be able to. But I'm hoping to go back to work soon.
Yeah.
So like go for a swim, do a bit in the gym, and then I just rest.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty important.
100%. This camera is about to die, unfortunately. I'm watching it right now. I want to say just a couple things before we go. Is like, and you'll say some things to the camera before we go as well.
Yeah.
But this has been one of the most insightful episodes I've ever done. Like, just getting an opportunity to talk to you has been really great, and I appreciate you for doing this. I know a lot of people appreciate you doing this and speaking, you know, what's been going on, and thank you. And it's so inspiring what you've gone through, and the fact that you're so dedicated to just making every day just 110% and doing what you want and being your own person. So thank you, bro. Like, genuinely, it's powerful. It gives me no excuse. Like, it gives me no excuse to, not get out of bed every morning and make up the most of it, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're like even doing a triathlon, dude, that makes me like I complain about running because I hate running, but like
Don't we all? But
everyone does.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's days you wake up and you're swimming and you're like, fuck this. You know what I mean?
You don't want to do it.
You're like, do you like swimming?
I don't mind it. Like, if I were to do a sport, like, swimming's nice. I feel like once you get in the rhythm of it, it can be a bit relaxing, but you just got to work out that, like, once you push past, like the runner's wall, you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'm sure it's very, well, are you thinking about much when you swim? Like, or is it just like an escape as well?
It's a bit of an escape. You just focus on, what you got to do just every lap at a time. That's what I like to take it as.
I love it. It's, well, before we go, you sort of touched on it a couple times, and I feel as though I know what your lasting message will be towards, like, on this episode. And, we'll do an update after the Noosa Triathlon.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
will.
That would be good.
Touch base.
But, speaking in the camera there, what's one thing that you want to have, I'm going to get this time in the Noosa Marathon, and also what's one thing you want to leave the viewers with on this episode?
It's time for the Noosa Tri for my part of the swim. Like, I want to get in the 20 minutes. Like, I know that's a little bit ambitious for an open water swim, but like, I want to get in the 20 minutes. And what was the other one, sir?
What do you want to leave people with?
What do I want to leave people with? Just, when an opportunity comes your way, just take that opportunity. No matter how small it might be. Like, I regret not doing stuff so much. The people have said, do you want to do this? And I'll be like, Siebes. There's the Siebes mentality. But like, you just got to get out there and live sometimes. There's no point just drowning in self-sorry. You just got to be yourself and go out and explore the world. Be the penguin.
Be the penguin, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
That's really great. Well, brother, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All the best. There we go. That's been TRODAIRE. Sweet. Thank you.